In esports, it can sometimes feel as if the games we play are scripted. That players are shackled by monolithic metas and unspoken rules that force them to fall into line, giving up self-expression in exchange for likelier silverware.
SK Telecom have overcome every challenge. They are the undisputed best team in the world.
And while most players bow their heads to these conventions and accept them as blueprints to success, over the years, we've been fortunate enough to see mavericks emerge who have rejected these formulas in favor of coming up with their own. Trailblazers who challenge their contemporaries to rethink everything they thought they knew about their games.
Be careful, one more, he can end it here. Q-dance! Tsunami punish! We have an animal of a champion here!
And in League of Legends, you'll have a hard time finding a more off-the-wall experimenter than SofM Quang Duy, the hyper-aggressive Vietnamese jungler of World's 2020 darlings, Suning. A player whose mechanical brilliance is surpassed only by his ability to redefine and reinvent how the game is played.
So it's interesting to me watching SofM in the draft phase, because looking at that draft, I was like, Jarvan is a champion?
Yeah.
Damn right, Jarvan is a champion. Enemy team was immobile, and I don't know why, but it's working, and it's hard to go against the grain when it comes to SofM.
A death-defying juggernaut who doesn't march to the beat of anyone else's drum. He prefers to steamroll the opposition to the beat of his own.
They try to disengage it, but now they've got Juan Fun coming in from the side. A very nice bullet time at the very edge of the sleep. Angels in a bad spot, but they may just turn it around. Good golly, Miss Molly. Everybody on JDG is seeing black and white.
So, how is it that one of the most feared and revered junglers in League was able to emerge from a minor region and become one of the game's most innovative stars? And how exactly did he help an inexperienced Chinese dark horse reach the world's finals without sacrificing his individual identity along the way?
He is just like perfect. He is such an incredibly talented jungler, and we say this all the time, but it's the world final, so I'll say it again. It's about time that SofM has finally made it to the world stage.
Hey guys, it's Dimitri here. Now, advancing to the world's finals and surprising everybody is not easy. But you know what is? Switching to Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Be sure to check out the link in the description below. Now let's get back to the video. Despite being classified as a minor region, Vietnam has some of League of Legends' most passionate fans, and a wellspring of talent that has made its presence felt on the world stage.
Nexus turret number 2 is down. The Gigabyte Marines are looking for revenge. Wild Turtle gets a kill to Archie, but look at the Nexus. Look at the Nexus. The Marines take down TSM.
In fact, I hate to say it, but there have been more Vietnamese players in Grand Finals at Worlds than North American ones. And by I hate to say it, I mean I love to say it.
Good morning, Vietnam!
And the reason Vietnam holds this claim to fame is SofM, the bad boy jungler who understands the rules of League, but prefers to break them.
SofM steps back into the bush, jumps onto Noguri, jumps onto Beryl, does it again. A multi-man stun once again from Angel. Beryl will be able to find the death sentence, and that almost shots down Angel, but there won't be enough from the Moonlight Vigil.
But to truly appreciate SofM flexing his tank Rengar in the finals of Worlds, we need to go back a bit and understand how he got there in the first place. You see, SofM's journey began in 2013, when he was signed by Full Luis, a team competing in Vietnam. Although age restrictions hampered his ability to play regularly, SofM's career really began to pick up momentum once he turned 17. And even at that tender age, he was already turning heads. SofM was a versatile player, capable of playing mid or in the bot lane, but it was in the jungle that he began forging his reputation.
Cái lực đồ này của Sof nhìn thấy thôi vào. Sof là người bị bắt lại, nhưng anh ta cực kỳ chơi, anh ta tấn công thẳng mặt của Suffer mà thôi, nhưng đây là 1 đánh 3, anh ta làm gì rồi, anh ta cực kỳ chơi, anh ta bị dính cả kiệt sức một người nữa. Vẫn đang cố gắng đuổi theo một con đường cuối và Hackett cùng Suffer dịch chuyển từ ra 1 đến đây. Bây giờ sẽ là 3 đánh 1, vẫn rất là cái trận này anh ta tiếp tục đuổi theo một con mồi ngon ăn hơn đó là July. Nhưng Rambo sự chủ của mình có sự hỗ trợ series cho vẫn đang chạy thoát và tấn công ngược lại vào Skyty và rất nhiều lượng sát thương được dành lên người của SofM, nhưng anh ta vẫn sống. Anh ta ăn thêm được 2 mạng nữa và anh ta muốn ăn thêm được 1 mạng nữa và July đã phải tốc biến đi.
Seeking a greater challenge, SofM decided to join the Korean servers. And he didn't just survive with the Sharks, he thrived amongst them. He became the first ever Vietnamese player to reach top 10 challenger in Korea, and he did so despite being at a significant ping disadvantage, while playing mechanically demanding junglers like Lee Sin. Of course, dumpstering competition like that is definitely going to get you noticed. And it wasn't long before SofM found himself being recruited by Snake Esports. Now, China was no stranger to importing players, but up to this point, they'd mostly been Korean. So when he joined Snake in summer 2016, SofM was the first ever Vietnamese player to break into the LPL. And unlike Korea's expats playing there, he was hellbent on playing the game his way. Which makes a lot of sense, seeing as SofM literally stands for Style of Me. And that signature style was based on pure aggression.
Lots of creep waves bashing on towards that tower. SofM now looking for a gank onto Snoopy. Gets him down low. Should be able to flash for this one. Does do just that. He picks up first blood.
Flashed out of the way of there as the Never Move does fly down. The ultimate comes out of 957. Tank is going to go down very, very low, but she is going to be the first one to fall. First blood goes to the Lee Sin as Quang Duy now off on the wrong side. Zero makes his way in as Quang Duy gets kicked over and killed. The double kill comes in for SofM. Tank was out of vision. There's the captive audience. The ultimate flies through. 5 in trouble and gets launched back into Snake. SofM's going to easily be able to grab that kill.
In a region known for its bloodthirsty players, SofM took things to a whole other level, and his approach only made Snake a better team. But even with the few years in the game's competitive scene under his belt, there was still a certain rawness to his play that drew criticism.
在我这边看，就是他的一些以往资料和包括他来了之后训练了几天之后，我发觉我就告诉他一句话，我看不出你打过2年职业。
And while that solo queue honed roughness was part of his charm, every now and again it did get him into trouble. Controversies aside, during his time with Snake, SofM established himself as a top-tier LPL player. He was even named Rookie of the Year in 2016 and MVP during the regional gauntlet, in spite of Snake failing to qualify for Worlds.
The turret's going down. Team W have done it in the 5th game against Snake. They're able to take down Snake Esports and they will advance into tomorrow's match against IMA to fight.
Anyway, despite having the hot rookie, Snake was never able to replicate the success they enjoyed in 2016. But that didn't stop SofM's reputation as a fearsome jungler from growing, especially a year later when he began experimenting with builds using Knight's Vow. Now, this tank item didn't increase his own damage, but it made SofM nearly impossible to kill while harassing enemy backlines. Now, during the Ardent Sensor meta, it made sense to build this on Gragas or Sejuani, but SofM was choosing to play it on Lee Sin, Jarvan, and even Elise.
One of the things that, to me, allows it to work for him is that, he's not just changing his item build and trying to play the same way. He's changing his item build and then trying to adapt his playstyle to it, allowing himself to be a lot more tanky in fights and kind of be more of a nuisance, go further into the back line and try to get them to focus more damage on him before being able to escape because of his additional tankiness and things like this. And I think it also works in his favor that he's playing some of these champions that so many people play, and these players have almost a set in stone expectation of what the champion can and cannot do because everyone always builds it and plays it a similar way. And he is so far from that I think it kind of subverts expectation and it makes it somewhat harder for his opponents to really react to because there's not really anyone else playing this way, so you can't really practice against it.
SofM's revolutionary mind for the game led to another innovation in 2019, when he began to monopolize vision on the map through a creative game mechanic. By swapping between the sweeper and warding totem trinkets, he was able to maximize his placed wards while denying vision to the opponent, thanks to the way their cooldowns worked. Even after this specific mechanic was patched out in December 2019, SofM remained a master of vision control, outpacing many of his peers. And it was this experimental and off-the-wall approach to this game that really made SofM stand out among junglers.
I think SofM is still one of the best junglers at that. He always comes out with experience leads, and he really breaks a lot of the things that we consider pillars as junglers. Like, take your buff on spawn. He's like, no, I'm just going to walk around. We don't need that.
After a brief stint with LNG in 2019, SofM joined Suning before the 2020 season began. There he found himself alongside Sword Art, Angel, Bin, and Huan Feng. It was a relatively inexperienced lineup that, on paper, had a lot of potential, although things didn't look that way in the beginning.
Bin with the defense duty as Leian jumps in, and that'll be all she wrote from IG and Suning.
Flashing onto the fountain, there over the moon. SMLZ survives the fountain after all of that. 2-0 over Suning. Full next time can't play the wave. The Nexus is going to go down. Naturals here and DMO taking.
After an 11th place finish in spring, it looked as though Suning's experiment was going to result in a massive flop. But in the summer, things were very different. Suning responded to their initial disappointment by putting together a 4th place finish in the regular split and an impressive run through the regional finals, one that saw them triumph against LGD Gaming.
For the first time ever, Suning punched their ticket to the World Championship.
But of course, that's not where SofM and Suning's journey ended. They weren't just grateful to qualify for Worlds, they were fully intent on winning it.
Back out, they're not put together. You got Gangplank on the flank, Gangplank. One big shot, Ben! Can you do it? Huge! My God! One moment, one shot, one barrel. That's all you need, Suning.
With, all of the additional move speed too.
Oh! One more arrow in his back to take Kanavi down. Ben trying to chase this up, but where is that?
What?
It's Jin!
He's in the
enemy base! Behind the curtains with the curtain call! Everybody is done, man. Huan Feng is legendary. They pick up the last 2 kills.
Suning had ripped their way through every pre-tournament favorite, putting together one of the most difficult runs to grand finals in League history. And the only thing standing between them and the Summoners Cup was Korea's Damwon Gaming. Now, any reasonable person would probably think that during the biggest series of his life, with so much on the line, SofM would probably play it safe. But come on, this is SofM we're talking about. After a Game 1 loss where he unselfishly played Shen to allow for a counter pick, he did something crazy. During the Game 2 draft, his opposing jungler, Canyon, locked in Evelynn.
Now you've got Canyon, who is considered the best jungler in the world right now, and he's going to be playing this champion. The ability to carry on it is extremely high.
Now, instead of defaulting to something expected, like his signature Lee Sin, he threw caution to the wind. He drew deep on his wealth of solo queue experience and surprised everyone with his next pick.
Rengar! What? Let's go!
Finals?
And of course, SofM Rengar wouldn't be SofM Rengar without an outrageous off-meta tank build featuring Knight's Vow.
I'm really curious as to how Suning are going to play out these fights. I think they need to look for a pick just like this.
That's a root, scatter the weak, unleashed power.
Excellent.
SofM had Thrill of the Hunt, and he was waiting. Huan Feng reloads. 1, 2, throws out the grenade. 5 shot, number 2, the dragon's going low. It's picked up by Suning. They get themselves the soul bite.
They go in the fight.
That's a flash forward. Huan Feng gets Canyon. Now Nogari's left inside the pit. Barrel's got no damage. SofM steps back into the bush, jumps onto Nogari, jumps onto Barrel, does it again. A multi-man stun once again from Angel. Barrel will be able to find the death sentence, and that almost shots down Angel, but there won't be enough from the Moonlight Vigil, and here comes SofM looking for Barrel. Suning get the soul. Suning step up, and with Rengar in Game 2, even out the series.
Now, unfortunately for SofM and Suning, their heroics in Game 2 weren't enough to stop Damwon from closing out the series with wins in Games 3 and 4. But despite falling short of League's greatest prize, Suning's impressive run through Worlds remained incredibly important to SofM. Not just because he'd finally been able to prove himself as one of the world's best junglers on the game's biggest stage, but because of the COVID-19 travel restrictions imposed on Vietnam, he'd been the lone representative for his entire nation.
I think it's a big deal, right? Having a Vietnamese player, in the finals. So I think, that gave them, something to really cheer for. And, I know, like, speaking from my perspective, if there was a Canadian player in the finals, I'd definitely be cheering for them. I think that's exciting to see, your nation and your league somewhat represented, even if it is, playing for a team from a different country or a team that's in another league.
And while I'm sure SofM would have loved to be crowned a champion during his first ever Worlds appearance, at the end of the day, falling short doesn't stop his and Suning's run from being every bit as inspiring as it was. Through his oddball ingenuity, SofM was able to help an unproven and overlooked team of Chinese talent become a serious international contenders. And most importantly, he did it by playing the game his way.
There is a reason that he has style in his name, as he is styling all over Damwon with this Rengar pick.
Everything is wrong with League. What's right about League? Nothing. I don't hate anything in esports. I love esports. Like, I love everything about esports except League of Legends. I fucking hate League of Legends. Ooh. Sorry, I get pukey when I have to do League of Legends. It just makes me a little